In the grand chessboard of global politics, some moves are quiet, almost imperceptible, unfolding behind closed doors and whispered in hushed tones. Others are like a thunderclap, shaking the very foundations of the board, sending shockwaves across continents and forcing the world to pay attention. The new mutual defense pact between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan is one of those thunderclaps, a bold declaration that echoes far beyond their borders. It marks a dramatic shift, signaling the end of an era where the United States was the region's ultimate security guarantor, and where American influence shaped every major decision. Now, Riyadh and Islamabad have forged a military and strategic axis that fundamentally alters the balance of power, creating new realities for both friends and rivals. This pact is a direct response to a world where traditional allies are less reliable, where old partnerships are fraying, and where new threats loom large on the horizon. The implications are staggering, touching everything from nuclear proliferation and regional arms races to the price of oil and the stability of global markets. Every major capital, from Washington to Tehran, must now recalculate its strategies, reassess its alliances, and prepare for a rapidly changing landscape. The old rules of the Middle East no longer apply. We are navigating uncharted waters, where uncertainty and opportunity exist side by side. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, both feeling exposed and isolated in a volatile region, believe that together they can build a security shield neither could create alone, forging a partnership born out of necessity and ambition. This is a marriage of Saudi financial might and Pakistani military prowess, including its formidable nuclear arsenal, a combination that could reshape the region's future. The Riyadh-Islamabad axis is now a reality, a new force that demands recognition and respect on the world stage. The world must now grapple with the consequences of this powerful new partnership, as the Middle East enters a new and unpredictable era. On September 15, 2025, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Pakistani Prime Minister Anwar Khan signed the Riyadh-Islamabad Strategic Partnership Treaty. This was the result of months of secret negotiations, coming at a time of heightened Gulf tensions and doubts about America's commitment. Unlike past informal ties, this is a formal, binding agreement, a true game-changer. For MBS, it's a cornerstone of his Vision 2030, securing Saudi Arabia's future. For Anwar Khan, it's a chance to elevate Pakistan's global standing and leverage its military and nuclear assets. The unwritten rule that the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet protected the Gulf is now in question. Riyadh is diversifying its security, no longer betting everything on Washington. By aligning with nuclear-armed Pakistan, Saudi Arabia is building its own deterrent. This is a substantive alliance, with detailed clauses on mutual defense, intelligence sharing, and joint military production. It creates a new power center in the Muslim world, independent of the great powers. The most explosive element of this pact is Pakistan's nuclear status. For decades, Pakistan's nuclear arsenal has been a source of both national pride and international anxiety, but now, it's become a pivotal factor in regional power dynamics. Pakistan, the only Muslim-majority nation with nuclear weapons, now implicitly extends its deterrent to Saudi Arabia. This move signals a dramatic shift in the balance of power across the Middle East, sending a clear message to rivals and allies alike. The pact's strategic ambiguity is intentional, creating a powerful nuclear umbrella. By refusing to clarify the exact terms, both nations keep adversaries guessing, amplifying the deterrent effect. For Saudi Arabia, this fulfills a long-held ambition: protection without building its own bomb. It allows the kingdom to project strength while avoiding the political fallout of developing nuclear weapons domestically. The kingdom has financed Pakistan's nuclear program for decades, expecting protection in return. This financial support has been a quiet but crucial part of their relationship, laying the groundwork for today's alliance. This formalizes that arrangement, countering Iran's ambitions and Israel's military edge. It also signals to other regional players that Saudi Arabia is no longer reliant solely on Western guarantees. Saudi reliance on the U.S. has eroded, especially after events in Afghanistan and the U.S. pivot to Asia. The kingdom is now seeking new security partners to safeguard its interests. Pakistan, a fellow Sunni power with deep military ties to the kingdom, is the perfect partner. Their shared interests and history of cooperation make this alliance both natural and formidable. Pakistani soldiers have long served in Saudi Arabia. Now the relationship reaches its highest level. This new phase cements their military partnership and signals a united front. The nuclear dimension raises the stakes for everyone, increasing the risk of miscalculation. Any conflict now carries the shadow of nuclear escalation, making diplomacy even more critical. The Pact's ambiguity is both its strength and its greatest risk. While it deters aggression, it also creates uncertainty that could spiral out of control if misinterpreted. By bringing the nuclear question to the forefront, the alliance has created a new, volatile dynamic. The world is now watching closely, aware that the stakes have never been higher in this region. The world must now contend with the possibility of catastrophic escalation. As tensions rise, the need for careful diplomacy and clear communication becomes more urgent than ever before. The boldness of Saudi Arabia's move is rooted in recent shocks, none more so than the Israeli airstrike on Doha. Israeli jets struck a Qatari facility, claiming it funded Iranian-backed militants, sending shockwaves across the Gulf. The attack exposed the vulnerability of even the wealthiest Gulf cities. For Riyadh, it was a wake-up call. If Israel could strike Doha, Saudi targets were also at risk. U.S.-supplied air defenses weren't designed for such sophisticated threats. Washington's muted response to the strike confirmed Gulf fears. America might not intervene in a regional showdown. The American security guarantee now seemed conditional and unreliable. The Doha airstrike crystallized the need for a new security arrangement. The pact with Pakistan is Riyadh's answer to a suddenly more dangerous neighborhood. The Saudi-Pakistan Pact is built on decades of close cooperation, an alliance that has quietly shaped the region's balance of power for generations. Their partnership is rooted in shared faith, deep economic ties, and robust military collaboration, making it one of the most enduring relationships in the Muslim world. Since the 1960s, Pakistan has played a crucial role in training Saudi forces, providing military expertise and support in exchange for vital Saudi aid and steady oil supplies, which have helped stabilize Pakistan's economy. Meanwhile, U.S. protection was the region's bedrock, with Washington acting as the ultimate guarantor of Gulf security, especially after the Gulf War, when American military might deterred regional threats and reassured Saudi leaders. For 30 years, U.S. bases and arms sales allowed the kingdom to focus on ambitious development, confident under Washington's protective watch. But over time, trust in the U.S. has eroded, as shifting American priorities became more apparent. The lack of U.S. retaliation after the 2019 Aramco attacks and the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal signaled a dramatic shift in U.S. commitment to the region. Slow and uncertain U.S. diplomacy on Iran's nuclear program convinced Riyadh that American priorities had changed, leaving Saudi Arabia to reconsider its security options. The old model, relying on a distant superpower, seemed increasingly risky and unsustainable. The historical relationship with Pakistan offered a ready and reliable alternative. Now, what were once informal ties have become a binding mutual defense treaty, formalizing decades of cooperation. This marks a significant shift from dependence to strategic autonomy for Riyadh. Riyadh is building a new security framework with a partner that's geographically closer, culturally aligned, and directly invested in the kingdom's long-term survival and prosperity. The new pact is a calculated move to secure Saudi interests in an increasingly uncertain world. The era of Western dominance in Gulf security is ending, and a new chapter is beginning. The Riyadh-Islamabad Treaty is more than symbolic. It's a comprehensive, binding alliance. At its core is a mutual defense clause. An attack on one is an attack on both. This transforms past informal cooperation into a formal military alliance. The pact establishes deep intelligence sharing, including satellite and signals intelligence. A joint intelligence center in Riyadh is planned to coordinate efforts. Regular joint military exercises and cooperation in defense production are key features. Saudi investment will help expand Pakistan's arms industry, aiming for military self-sufficiency. Major Saudi investments in Pakistan's economy, especially energy, are part of the deal. This is a deeply integrated partnership designed to be a permanent regional force. The new pact has upended the regional chessboard. For Saudi Arabia, it's a high-stakes bet on security and regional leadership. For Pakistan, it's a path to economic stability and global relevance, but also a risk of entanglement in Middle Eastern conflicts. The U.S. faces a direct challenge to its role as regional security hegemon. Washington must decide punish its allies or adapt to the new reality. Iran sees a Sunni alliance as a threat, likely accelerating its own military programs. Israel is quietly alarmed by the extension of a nuclear umbrella to Saudi Arabia. Other Gulf states must now choose join the bloc or chart their own course. Every nation is recalculating its alliances and interests. The Riyadh-Islamabad axis sends shockwaves across the globe, signaling the decline of American influence in the Middle East. Regional powers are building their own security frameworks, reducing Washington's leverage. A more multipolar Middle East is emerging, with China and Russia eyeing new opportunities. The UAE and other Gulf states must decide whether to align with the new bloc or counterbalance it. Iran faces a strategic nightmare, likely accelerating its nuclear ambitions and risking escalation. Israel's security calculus is upended, possibly prompting more aggressive actions or seeking stronger U.S. guarantees. Internally, both Saudi Arabia and Pakistan face risks, domestic opposition and fears of entanglement. Critics in Pakistan warn of being dragged into sectarian conflict. Some Saudis fear provoking adversaries. If the pact fails to deliver security, it could undermine the very leaderships that forged it. The region stands at a crossroads, with stability or chaos hanging in the balance. Signing the treaty is just the beginning. Sustaining it is the real challenge. Military integration will be the first test. Can two very different armed forces operate as one? The U.S. response is another wildcard. Sanctions or withheld arms could cripple the alliance. Both nations still rely on American technology and intelligence. Domestic politics could also threaten the pact. Future governments or public opinion may turn against it. In Saudi Arabia, the alliance's fate is tied to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's leadership. The pact's survival depends on delivering real security without provoking catastrophe. Watch for joint military drills and diplomatic signals in the coming months. This is a bold gamble. It could bring stability or trigger new rivalries and conflict. One thing is certain, the old order is gone. The Middle East is entering a new, unpredictable era.